says it's live.
Yeah, it's going. All right, we'll give it just a second to connect. We are connected. All right.
You're showing up. You're posting. You're speaking. You're doing everything they told you would grow your business. So why is it not converting? Because visibility is only half the equation. Getting attention is easy. Turning that attention into clients takes strategy. VoiceLab was built to solve that. This is where front-end visibility meets back-end conversion. You learn how to get on stages, create your own platforms, and use podcasts, summits, and workshops to grow your audience and generate real leads. Then you learn what most people never build. A system that captures those leads, follows up, nurtures relationships, and turns interest into revenue. Email and newsletter strategy that actually gets responses. Workflows, not just more noise. Real connection that leads to real business. Inside VoiceLab, you are not guessing. You're learning the how. You're implementing in real time. You're building a business that works even when you are not constantly chasing attention. Because here's the truth. If you don't have visibility, no one knows you exist. If you don't have systems, nothing converts. VoiceLab gives you both, so you can stop performing for attention and start building momentum that pays you back. If you are ready to grow your authority, expand your reach, and finally turn visibility into income, join Colleen Stubbs and Nicole Borghi in the VoiceLab. Scan the QR code, join VoiceLab Group on the School platform, and build the business that actually works.
Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to VoiceLab. We have had a little bit of a morning. This has been fun, right, Nicole? Nicole is making some changes to her internet, and it is not flowing as smooth as she would like to, but welcome to VoiceLab. We're so glad that you're here with us today. I am Colleen Stubbs. I'm the founder of Simplified CEO Systems, and I help midlife entrepreneurs learn to simplify within their business, automate, and delegate, giving them the ability to just show up and shine as the face and voice of their business. By doing this, they also get the opportunity to build both a life and a business that they're madly passionate about. And my co-host, as always, is Nicole Borghi.
Hey guys, well, I'm kind of here trying to get settled in, and you know what it's like when you're in the middle of nowhere and trying to get your internet set up and work online, and you do the best you can and you show up where you can the best way that you can. So today I am on my cell phone, but I was able to make it, so I'm glad to be here. You know what, you guys, it is just so good to be here. I'm going to bring the document up if you want to get things started.
Absolutely. So today we're going to be speaking about going from speaker to authority to industry leader, and such an interesting topic, and really so many parts and pieces of this. We had a great Monday Morning Business Foreplay this week. We had Raja on there, and he talked a lot about stage presence and how you handle yourself in front of the camera, how to present yourself, how to move, things like that. I thought all of that was really super, super interesting. And I definitely learned some things. As we get started here, I want to make sure and remind you of a few things that we do have coming up. Of course, yesterday was my masterclass, Set It to Serve Them, where I taught all about automation. So that was a very good class. I will be repeating it one more time this month. That will be next Wednesday on the 13th at 11 a.m. Central. And you can find that on my LinkedIn. I'll also drop it in the chat here. After that, we also have Authority Code coming up. Authority Code is going to be on, let's see, that's May 19th to 21st. Is that correct, Nicole?
I believe so. I'm not on the website right now. I can look and see if I can find that.
I have it, May 19th to 21st.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll
Perfect.
drop that link as well. So Authority Code. Nicole, why don't you tell them a little bit about that while I get these links dropped?
Sure, thanks. So authority code is really how influencers lead, right? So if you're a soul-led leader, if you are an influencer in your group. You're not an Instagram influencer. Maybe you're not on TikTok dancing like a crazy person in a costume or whatever, having a good time, right? We can all do that on the side. But if you truly want to lead the people that your team, your group, how do you show up and shout out? How do you show up and shine? And that's absolutely what Raja was talking about. It's what Kimberly Crow was talking about. It's what everybody is talking about in our circle. And when we went to that event in Orlando with Kimberly Crow and Shiraz, and even Dr. L was there, and a great group of people that were in the room where all the cool stuff was happening, is that you want to be an authority and you want to influence the people that you're around, the people that you want to serve. You can be in service, which is great, but how are you influencing change, right? So if you're just sharing and giving, you're not sharing with people how to accomplish and how to be not proactive and how to take control of the next day, the next week, the next year. And in your business, it's so crucial. I know for me personally, it really comes from the heart for this summit, is that, when you're in business, you want to stand out and shine, but you want to bring some change and you want to work with people and to be servitude, to show them maybe three things. Each speaker is going to share three important ideas, three important tasks, just like we do in our workshops when we're sharing some takeaways. We're sharing on time, real time, not just a motivation. Motivation may make you feel good in the moment, but what are you going to do? What's the activity? What's the goal that you're going to accomplish? And how do you get people to move to that? A great leader is the one, right? The Pied Piper didn't just show up once. He was blowing his pipes and taking those mice through town, continuously moving them out so they wouldn't come back, so they'd follow. And that's what you want to do. You want to be a great leader. It's important that we bring those great, strong leaders back that are coming in servitude with the heart. There's a lot of people that talk about it. They talk a lot more about emotions, but we don't want to just have emotions and feelings in our soul and who we are and what we're passionate about. But we also want to apply that to a business sense so that we can simplify our lives, so that we can move forward, so that we can know we have a business and a purpose and a mission in our business, but in some way it's going to reflect our community. And how do we change our community? And a lot of times that's through business, that's through monetization. That's something that we have the privilege to do, and what we're doing right now on the stage. The first day of this event, which is really great, that we're going live. We are going to be live in that speaker panel. We're going to have a chat, and we're going to be live on that speaker panel. I got a bunch of stuff. Sorry, guys. I got a bunch of stuff going through my screen. It's just flashing. It's so crazy here. So what we're going to do is we're going to live stream. We're going to have lots of questions. We're going to have Q&A. We're going to come for the conversation, but really stay for that connection and being able to get to know the speakers. The audience has a chance to turn on the camera and participate. This is so important. You want to get to know who's speaking, so you come back and listen to their presentation. You listen to their Q&A. You listen to their interview, and they're going to drop some really good golden nuggets. It's not just all about singing and dancing and what's the next sparkly object, but what can you do with that product or service that the speaker has?
So, Nicole, I was actually just looking on LinkedIn, and it says that our event starts at 10 a.m., which is incorrect. It actually starts at 9. So we are not restreaming currently. However, I am not sure what we do with that.
Well, it is restreaming. It might just be on YouTube. I can check that out. So if you want to carry it on, I'll check it out.
I will carry it on. So I want to say that what a big difference it makes when you have been on multiple stages. So going from a speaker to an authority, right? Like I did my podcast every week for a year, and I felt like that was a lot of experience. But until I got on multiple stages, which were included many times over on other people's podcasts, many summits, many times of repeating my same presentation, many times of actually sharing my business, did I gain the authority behind my presentation. Did I know it well enough to actually present it with authority, which is huge? Because one thing you don't want to do is show up stumbling and fumbling. However, when we're starting, everybody shows up that way. And even if you aren't stumbling and fumbling through your words as a presenter, excuse me, as I itch my nose, even if you aren't stumbling through your words as a presenter, there are other things that happen that kind of throw you off. Maybe it's a tech issue. Maybe it's somebody inadvertently didn't turn their mic off, and so they're interrupting you all the time. Something like that. But what happens is with the practice, practice. And I don't mean just turning on your camera and practicing by yourself. That's helpful too. But actually getting in front of the audience, getting in the real live room and doing it repeatedly, do you gain the skill to be able to handle somebody interrupting you, to be able to handle the tech issues like Nicole's doing today, to be able to really go through your bullet points in your head without having to rely on slides and without having to read anything. And I think that that's super important. Now, I was talking to a good friend the other day, and she is just starting out and doing her master classes. And she said that to practice, she actually went live on TikTok. And she said she had 156 people went through the room there on TikTok while she was going live through her presentation. And I think that that is really a clever way to get a little bit of experience before you actually get on the live stage in front of your own audience, right? Like, I don't believe that she has a TikTok presence. She just turned it on to use it as a camera, and that's how she did that. But it helped her to really sort out, to see how she looked and to sort out what she wanted to say, how to articulate her thoughts more clearly, and then also to get some feedback from the people that were going through the room. So I think that's one great way to practice. I know that when I started online, I would just practice with just my phone recording. Maybe I would open a Zoom meeting and go through my presentation and then watch it back. And just like I would watch back a video of a basketball game when I was in high school, and I would watch back how we played and say, I needed to do this different, that different. If we had done this play different, this would have ended differently. So really going back through the video after I recorded it when I first came online and being able to say, I need to make this change. This is where the camera is. I need to look directly at the camera. Just being able to articulate and understand how you're coming across is one of the first steps in being a speaker. And then I don't know who told me along the way, but they said, get rid of the script. I mean, my husband definitely vouched for that. He actually said to me, you got to stop reading when you're recording and just go by the fly, because when you read and you record, I hate it. I'm like, okay, thank you, dear. But really get rid of the script and bring it down to bullet points. Bullet points are so easy. And everybody understands if you look at your bullet points or something that you're working through, they understand that. But just keeping those bullet points top of mind as you go through things. And understanding that when you are speaking, people are listening not only to the words you're saying, they're listening to your tone of voice, they're watching your body movements, which is one of the things that Raja talked about. You know, not to be on here like this talking to you is not placing myself in a position of authority, and not to be going like this or like this, but to rather bring your hands in together and keep them in front of you in this rectangle in front of you.
Let me interrupt you on that. I will say I do not concur with everything that he says, and there's a reason for that. There's a time and a place when you're a leader. There are certain cues and certain things that you want to do and animate at the time. If you stand here like this, I stood at attention for a long time, right? We would have to stand at attention, parade rest, and all that fun stuff. No fun. Don't do that on video. You do want to be animated to a reason. There are people like yourself who speak great off the cuff because you know what you're saying, you know your business, and some people as well, other people as well, and I've done this too. I tend to read it. I want to make it perfect, line by line. But you want to do line by line if you rehearse. You have to rehearse that script if you're going to do it line by line, then it becomes more comfortable. There's a lot of things, and I'm not a coach, but I have worked with speaker coaches, and I do say on the stage, you have to be you.
Nicole,
there's a point to get into that attention. There are times for that. So I think it's good. Those are good takeaways, and everybody has their own way to speak, right? So I think that's just this is a great conversation to talk about, because there's so many people that say do this definitely in this box, and I think like you said before, what you were saying with your husband was that works for you the best, and people that are around you know the best way you present yourself.
I think that we can agree that there is some closed body language that we as speakers need to avoid. One of them is closing off. Like, this is a closed language. This is blocking the energy. It's telling people you're not interested in being open to them. I will say, Nicole, I've seen you do this and you do it so well. I will never do this because I'm not confident in doing it. And I'm always so confused with the screen, but I know that people say, like, scan the QR code. I tried that once and I had the wrong side. Like, so I just avoid that like the plague, right? But I think that the
But it's
idea,
what works for you, right? Again, it's
right,
we
right.
again we have to say this is what works for us. This is what works, and that's the thing about the authority code. You're an influencer. What works for you? What works for your audience? And it's just
that's
like
key.
salespeople. We all have a different way, and we all have a different attitude and mentality. Oh, and by the way, the LinkedIn should be back up again. I think I changed this time. It was in universal time at 3:00. So we're sorry, guys. If you're on LinkedIn, I hope it's working. I'm going to see if I can check here again, but perhaps if it works, it should start at okay. It did say should say 9:30 Central now, but that's okay. We'll keep going on. We have it on YouTube. We can record this and go in there. I think this is a great conversation.
I do too. And I
Because
think that there's
so
a lot to how you do it that relates to your audience.
and that's it. When you're talking to your audience, I think it's great. Again, I'm not a speaker coach. I'm going to say what works for me. I'm going to say what works for me as a host. I'm going to say, hey, this as a host, I see that this is how the audience is reacting to you. This is why the audience is stopping with you and reacting to you. There's some times when people love to get up and they love to move around, but there's a really dynamic person, and I think her first name's Penelope. I forget her last name. Maybe it's Smith or something. And she had a 3-day summit, and she told people, and she was just a ball of fire and very, she just loved to sing and dance, and that was her persona. So what did she do? And she told people in the beginning, she goes, there's going to be times when we're going to just stop and dance. We're going to come back from the break and we're going to stand up. So come back from the break and do this. I think that works well because you program people ahead of time and you let them know, because people are coming back from the break and they're like a little tired, just getting back to their cup of coffee. They may not be, they may not be in a place to get up. They may not be in a place where they have their Zoom pants on. I mean, quite frankly, it's we don't always know. And sometimes in a presentation, but more in a podcast, those are things that you can say, hey, try this. I like to do this. Let's try this now, and encourage people. And Raja did that. But I think that we have to look at all those circumstances in there. And I think it's good to see. And this goes into the lead magnet as well. When you sharing your lead magnet, you want to seed it. You want to seed when we're having breaks. You want to tell people the housekeeping of what's going on. And we just disclose, hey, I'm having, Nicole is moving to BFE, and, I'm in a place where I'm having tech challenges, and the tech that's going to do the internet is coming. But I told you that because we all have lives. But I want to let you know, because somebody's going to be there going, oh my gosh, what's wrong with her? Why is everything off? Well, my phone and my computer and everything don't want to talk together. So I have to give that space, and I just ask for that. And that's what we do. When you disclose, you do housekeeping in the beginning. Hey, we got some great events coming up. Today on the podcast, we're talking about this. Who are we? Here we are. We're a team. We're doing the thing together. We're having this passionate discussion of how to present yourself, how to come on the stage. what can you bring? That energy in a real-time event doesn't necessarily translate. And sometimes not everybody has that energy or that charisma that they think that they have. And it doesn't always play through. But you got to try it.
Right.
Be open and be honest with your stage host and say, hey, what's going on here? Here's what I do. Here's how I present. And I think that's perfectly the way to do it in an imperfect world. When you have a lot of people who are, let's just say, divas, when they come on the stage and they just want to take everything over on your stage, you have to know how they are. If that person shows up and they've got great information, the audience reacts well to them, and they've got a great product or service, and you're going to affiliate it, you know they have great follow through. You are be a good stage host and say, hey, this is what the audience wants. And if you have it, build a good relationship and know mentally for these 60 minutes, this is how it's going to go. I'm okay with it. But if somebody shows up and they're a different person and they haven't told you that they've changed the way they share their presentation, they've totally changed their audience. They're no longer aligned with your audience. What now, right? That's a OMG. How do you pivot?
Right. And that's definitely happened. You know, one of the things that I love that you're saying, and just kind of reminds me, I've been in the room with people that bring in energy like a little Mexican jumping bean, and they're not my flavor, and that's okay. But I think the bottom line is to stay true to the energy that you bring to your group, because when you step on stage at a summit, you're there to attract more people, and some of your people will be there. What you don't want to do is show up in a different energy and everybody think that you're off or that something's wrong with you. And so I would take, for instance, the LSU coach, Kim Mulkey, and let's put her versus maybe Amy Porterfield, okay? Totally different energy. And if either one showed up with the other one's energy, we'd be like, what the hell? What is wrong with them? Why are they off, right? But they both are great leaders and both have great following. And it's because they are true to themselves, true to their authentic way of presenting themselves. They do it over and over and over again. And their audience knows that. Now, along the way, they always are attracting more people. And it's easy for them to do that when they stay authentic to themselves. So I think that there's some really basic things that you don't want to do. I don't think that when you turn around like this, even if I have something on the board back here and I'm writing it and talking to you, I don't think that's a good signal to my audience. I don't feel like it is. The same as if I came on here like this, or if I'm super lazy in my talking to you, because it's not my style. I'm going to be upfront with you. And then there are some things I feel like are really taboo, like turning your back to your audience, closing your hands,
100%.
closing your arms and appearing like, get away from me. Those are general across the board, but everything else I think is you. Do you flip your hair? I've had people tell me, sit still. Well, guess what? I have been told to sit still for 55 years and it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked yet. It's probably not going to work in the next 55. I'm just saying, save your breath, right? Like I would.
And then you're going to be uncomfortable. Aren't you going to be uncomfortable if you're like, okay, I got to sit still. I got to sit still.
I tried it once. I tried it once, literally, and it was the hardest thing. I could not wait for it to get over. And I think that my audience could tell I felt that way. So move around a little bit more. So it's important to really, truly be authentic in yourself, and then make sure that you're getting your practices in. Nicole, how do you suggest people practice before they present?
So I suggest to people, first of all, get to know your host. Develop that relationship. Do you have some type of connection with that host? Is that someone you followed for a while? Do you know their work? Have you networked with them? Have you built a relationship with that host? And sometimes we do go, like I out of fun, sometimes impulsively, I'll go, yeah, hey, I'll kind of cyber stalk the person and look at their site, look at their videos and go, hey, I'm going to try this stage, see if it works. I like their people. Or I know people in their audience. I know other speakers. So there is some type of 6 degrees of connection, right? Kevin Bacon there.
Right.
And oddly enough, this says it is streaming on LinkedIn, but who knows? LinkedIn is not playing nice with me today, but that's okay. We'll forgive LinkedIn. So just this one. But, it really depends on, is that audience aligned and who are you working with, right? And how are you showing up first? Be comfortable with you. And again, you want to work on your script. There are people that we are working on, we are bringing in. This would be a great time to kind of seed a gentleman we met at the event, Frank King, to the Voice Lab Masterclass, who's going to talk about not only getting on a TEDx stage, but he's also going to talk about just being a cool speaker, because he's going on to his 14th stage. Super amazing. He's a comedian, actually really funny. I do appreciate his comedy, and I enjoy talking to him. He's got some exciting things going on. And for me right now, I'm just not into the TEDx thing, but I think it's valuable to understand what your options are as a speaker. And I think you really need to know, what do you want? What are you passionate about? Where do you show up well? And we talked about this, and I'll just be full share, is, changing some of the business. And when we went through an event, there were some things that were moving and shaking that I want to add or maybe take away or just kind of pivot on it. It's time to change. It's time to clean out those skeletons in the closet and remove some dust on some of the projects I've had or waited to bring in or have some connection with. So that brought up some changes, but I still want to stay with what I love. And a lot of what I love is to bring other people to the stage, is to be the person in the background, a bit of a Wizard of Oz behind that emerald green curtain. I need to find a green curtain, that'd be great. But I love to help people stand out and shine. And a great way for them is to really script it out and go over it. Just like your 30-second speech, right? It's like your 30-second, hey, here's my 30-second pitch. It took you how long? When we did a pitch, I read it in a minute, but when I presented it, it took me 3 minutes. So there's such a difference, and it's like, oh, I didn't get all the cool stuff I wanted to say in there, and I know I take time. I'm a bit slow to start. That's okay. I'm the tortoise in the hare. With the tortoise in the hare, I'm the one that's going to take the long run. But I know myself. I know what it takes for me to bring that. Not afraid to be on the stage. Absolutely not afraid to fumble, because I did a few times. That's a good place to fumble with the people that you know and love, right? That you respect, that respect you. And this is what it's all about, is really just coming on, showing your authority. Your authority is what you do, and you show up well doing certain things and certain body movements, tone and style, just like your content, just like everything that you do in your back office work, your emails, your newsletters, your marketing, your pitch. It all has to be part of that same great big sphere. So how are you showing up? That's part of it. Know your audience. So you take that, put a speech together, and you need a good hook in the beginning. But again, what are you saying? Are you practicing enough that you feel comfortable with it, and that way you kind of memorize it, and you can add libs, or you can have bullet points when you're speaking. Presentations, let me just say this. I know people have different parts and passions about presentations on a speech, but I will say, for me and for some other people, I see that it's great is to have a presentation and no more than 3 lines, and no more than, it should be 36 fonts. Just try it out. I challenge you here and now. No more than 3 lines, 36 fonts. And maybe that one line is in the first slide, and then the second line, the first and second, or in the second slide, and then 1 to the third slide brings in the third line. So you're kind of traveling to it. So it's not everything everywhere all at once. And then try a 36 font. It should just be a bullet point of what you're talking about. Again, you're seating people. And you can stop the screen and come to it and say, hey, right now I want to talk about this scar on my hand. I'm just going to put the word scar on my hand. It's 3 words. No, yeah, that's 4. I can count, right? But you put those 3 to 4 words, scar hand, right? You're putting a line there on that bullet point to talk about, hey, I'm going to talk about this. What happened? I was hanging something up. And I was doing something fun and interesting, pulled out the old hammer, and my hands got in the way of the hammer. And so that's what you're going to talk about. You're going to tell that story. It was outside. It was sunny. I was hanging something up. I was trying to get the Starlink up. I was trying to get everything set. There was this great place to do it. I was getting all the positioning. I got into it, and it didn't work. There's a story. But you're not going to put that all in your presentation, are you? Because people sit there and read. They're going to read. They're not going to pay attention. They're going to get lost. They're not going to be able to follow you. And if somebody's coming in the room or back to your screen, they have to catch up on that entire dialogue. So keep it simple, be able to back away, be able to tell the story, and slides actually, because if you have different talks, they bring us back. Maybe you're flying in, maybe you're tired. A presentation, a few slides will help you come back mentally. Go, yep, this is my go-to. Some people don't need slides, they need a few words and they can go talk off the cuff, and that's great. But everything this is what we're looking for, is really, how do you show up and shine? How are you the authority? And I think that's just a great way to be.
Well, I think too that one of the things is to make sure that you have a point of view, that you're not just sounding like an infomercial, right? Because the information's great and we all need the information, but we're more interested in your point of view. And so that is huge. And so when you're building a recognizable message and framework, make sure that it includes your point of view. And then make sure that when you're leaving that stage, that all of your systems are supporting you as an authority. They're positioning you that way because they're getting the follow-up done for you, right? And making sure that that same energy you're bringing to stage, that you're sharing, that same point of view that you're sharing with so much heart, you want to make sure that that is also included in all of your content and all of your email so that your voice is being reinforced, right? You want to make sure that you are continually saying yourself as the authority, not the option. And I think that that's hugely important. Sometimes we forget that we need to carry that on, that we may step off the stage, but our message needs to carry on with the same zest and same love of life that we bring to it when we are on the stage. And it's easy to do that. If you don't know how, then that's going to be the part where you want to reach out to me. You can reach out in my school group, Simplified Go High Level. There's a lot of instruction in there in the classrooms. I have dropped that link on YouTube, so please go join us there. If you need some time practicing, if you are thinking of ways to do it, go Google that. See different ways. There are ways that I've seen people who practiced with teleprompters. Told you about the lady who practiced on TikTok. I've had people tell me that they take their little sticky notes like these and they stick them on their screen around their camera with their bullet points on it so that they can look around and know what bullet points they're going to. Just keep it right there so that you're familiar with it. And then make sure that your systems are going to support it. I think
Yep.
And then the biggest thing too is, my friends, you've got to remember it's a long game. Okay, I know when we came on here in 2020, there were people saying, "Oh, I made $1 million overnight." That is not the way you build a business.
Nobody makes $1 million overnight.
Yeah, and even if, and the funny thing is really that's so true, Nicole, because I've deep dove into some of these stories, right? And they did make $1 million in 6 months after they did this for 16 years.
100%.
But we forgot the 16.
100%.
And just
it's
went,
like the star overnight, the overnight success, right?
Yeah, it's like they pivoted, they twisted something, and it finally worked. And that's when they start counting their time. Reality is that's not how you get there. Okay, I've been building businesses for 37 years. It's a long time, and there's always room for improvement. And as you make that improvement, as you challenge yourself, as you continue to grow and evolve as a person, as a business owner, getting comfortable in your message and becoming one with it, then you become scalable and then things shift. But you really have got to put in the work to position yourself as an authority and not as an option.
100%. And guys, if you want more tips and tricks on your workshop, how to run your workshop, how to run your podcast, the things that you go over. I'm very honest about mistakes that are happening or what's going on and the system and the tech and the structure, why, because that's my forte. That's what I love to do. And I'll share with you how to troubleshoot. I'll share with you the journey, and I'll share with you how to honestly get over that and work on that. Maybe we're not podcasting and streaming on one thing, but we're streaming on definitely on YouTube, and we can take that and take the recording and replay it. Let the audience know. But you know what? This makes you different from AI. This makes you stand out when you talk about it, when you share with people what's happening. I'm not sharing with you the pain. I'm sharing with you the trouble, the pain point. So I can bring you the solution. So if you really want solutions, you want structure and strategy, how to do your workshop, how to get on the stage, how to host an event, right? Because there's a lot that goes on. How to get on the camera, how to position, and to have that conversation. Because the conversations aren't free. They're just not a free form chat. There's some notes. There's a structure and there's a format. There's things that we practice. There's things that we know that we do. You're not going to be an overnight success, but we want to make you a lifetime of success and move into the legacy. Come into the Voice Lab. Come check out Colleen and I. We are in the Voice Lab. When you're in the Voice Lab, you're going to be on the stage. When you're in the Voice Lab, you join the Voice Lab, you might win a place on the stage, right? Congrats to our winners. I'm going to try and get back into school and congratulate them. But I'm having problems with the tech. I'm in a different place. So I have to give myself grace, but I'm still showing up and shining. So if you want somebody that's going to be there, you want somebody that's going to support you, and you want somebody that's going to show up and be honest with you and serve you well and support you with everything that you do, you know what? Give me a ringy-dingy. DM me in LinkedIn, reach out to me on YouTube. Let me know. I would love to help you just really stand out and shine and be the authority and know that we are all human. So that's okay. We will see you next Tuesday, or actually Monday, for Monday Morning Business Foreplay.
That's right. Monday Morning Business Foreplay. And Nicole, I love that. That's actually a great opportunity. I don't know if people understand that, but if you come into the Voice Lab, it is $99 a year, but you also have the chance to win a spot on one of Nicole's stages. And each stage is $100. And so that's a huge swap off right there. So come on in, learn some things, dive in. We've got masterclass coming. Frank King is amazing. Even if you don't have an interest in being a TEDx speaker, as you can imagine, you cannot be a 14-time TEDx speaker and not have a ton of experience, knowledge, and wisdom to share with people just about speaking in general, because TEDx talks are more difficult. And so come in and dive into that class with him. Understand more about speaking. Learn from somebody who's done the hardest of things to do in speaking. You guys, we will see you Monday. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Yeah, bye-bye. Yeah, hire an expert, get a coach, you guys.